And it's also because Pelicultura has gaining recognition outside the southern Tagalog region, which is where the festival is situated, and in the Philippines, but also with the network of independent short filmmakers in Asia Pacific. So this network is important for us to create and cultivate a healthy alternative filmmaking landscape. So the films included in this selection came from recommendations of programmer friends from Malaysia and Singapore, while others have been seen by Kay Rostan is now. And these films exhibited as part of our online film festival, apart from other exhibition sections where filmmakers submitted their films. So I'm actually reading the notes Kay gave me, and I am doing justice to the translation. So it can be observed that there's a recurring theme of leaving and death films featured in the lineup, and how these themes are not only seen as a private experience in the context of family or individual lives, but that there's also elements impact on these themes by external powerful forces that dictate one's movements, or even in the manner of how death unfolds in the narrative. So these different forms of struggles can be seen in the short films included in the Asia Pacific Short Film Program. So yes, once again, welcome to the very much for joining us tonight and for giving us your time. Let me introduce them one by one. So first we have the filmmaker from the film Mr. Postman, Victor Araneda Jure. He is an independent filmmaker Australia, but he was born in Chile. But he has also Victor.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome. How are you
Thanks.
doing?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Where are you right now?
I'm in Australia right now in my house. It's
In Melbourne
past
also?
midnight. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
in
it's past
Melbourne.
midnight. So you're both,
Yeah.
Jerry and you are both in Melbourne. Do you know each other?
No, no.
Okay, so good to know you're doing okay. The next filmmaker I'm going to introduce is the filmmaker of the film Elephant Bird. He's Amir Suhaili. So Amir is an awarded filmmaker, festival director, and programmer. He was born in 1988 in Mashhad, Iran, and studied cinema and South Korea. So his second short film, Blue Eye Boy, won 20 international awards from more than 140 international film festivals. That's quite a lot. Member of the juries of the Yogyakarta Asian Film Festival, VIDC Jury Awards in Indonesia, Avanca International Film Festival in Portugal, SARC Film Festival an International Documentary Short Film Festival of Kerala in India, and Malatya International Film Festival in Turkey. He is the co-founder and creator Peace Film Festival in Pakistan. So, hi Masood. Could you tell us where you are right now and how you are doing?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Masood, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually sorry. I'm on the way to my house because you had like a week of lockdown, and now it's open. So it was just a time for me to visit home. That's why yeah, I'm in Iran right now.
Okay, thank you. So our next filmmaker is the filmmaker of the last Jeril Lumawig. So Jeril is, I think, the from the filmmakers tonight with us. So he's 19 years old, and he's Filipino, but he migrated to Australia in 2012 along with his films often explore the struggles of the Filipino people and their collective memories of resistance. So his films include Nutriasia is Not Innocent, Generation Concerning violence, The Cost of Rice, They Killed the Messiah, and Terrorists. So the last four films that I mentioned, he made just in 2020. So quite productive in the quarantine period, Jeriel. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
We usually begin the talkback with the usual question of diving into your films. So let me ask you first, what is the inspiration? If you could share that to the audience, and if you want to share any relevant information behind the film, please do so. So maybe let's.
Yeah, sure. That's a very tricky question. I don't think I know exactly what inspired me to. I just remember that I had the story written down as a short story, maybe like 20 years ago, while I was at school, maybe, started writing the story of Samuel. And then when I went to film school, I thought that might be a good short film. And then I look around me and I find a turntable and stuff that I could use for the film, and I just went for it. But I don't think I have something specific that inspired me really. It was more like a constructed idea of, yeah.
Yeah, and what made you choose to tackle such a sensitive subject matter? What is your sort of aim in a way? Have you been in your past films? Have you been also tackling these kinds of subject matter?
I think this might be the most sensitive one, to be honest, because I made two more after Mr. Postman, and maybe touch very sensible family matters. I don't think they are as explicit as Mr. Postman. But yeah, I just thought I think it was necessary to just say it, because I know that incest and all that kind of stuff is quite not common, but it's nothing new, and it's been happening for years. Films are a good way to just show it and make it public. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Victor. Let's go. Could you tell us about your film, Masood? What inspired you to make this, or any relevant information that you want to share about?
Okay, this movie, this short film, I made it in Afghanistan, and it was Afghanistan for the first time. It was really shock. I faced so many experiences before, and yeah, one the first thing that I surprised me, it was difficulty of traveling, and you see it in the film that from a city to another city. And when I back from that trip, it's another country. We are living in a really world, but there are certain places that it's so difficult to just move further. And yeah, like I thought that I have to make something about this. And in that first trip, when I visited Afghanistan, I bought a couple of books from the look, and when I get back, I read some, and then I I saw a book that telling a story about, and I really liked the story, and I thought, okay, I have to make this specific story to a movie. And then I contact the writer, and then I say, then it's happened, Elephant Bird.
Thank you for that. You mentioned some of the difficulties already, with the challenges that you faced in your filmmaking, and maybe we can talk later. But in the meantime, let's ask Jeril. What made you do the film, Jeril? What is the inspiration behind it? About it.
Yes. So when I was doing the film, we were actually in lockdown still. The lockdown was still fresh in Melbourne, and I was kind of adamant on making the film because we were in lockdown. I couldn't have any actors or any of the editors or any of cinematographers come in, but I've always been doing it like this anyway. So I filmed the whole film with my phone, edited it on my phone. I also acted on the film process, but at the end, I think it was all worth it. What made me do the film was the post-COVID, the COVID response of the national government in the Philippines, sense that I saw, and especially with the urban poor sector. And I saw the one video that made me really cringe and maybe persuaded me to make this style of the urban poor protesters in Metro Manila when the COVID pandemic was happening. And I just saw the kind of violent rhetoric that the national government was peddling within the COVID era in the Philippines. And also, I think also when I went over to social media and these videos of people going out despite the lockdown, and I go to the comments and I see people saying, "Uy, why don't you just stay home? Why don't you work?" And that mata pobre, what we call mata pobre na pagkakatingin within the poor in the Philippines, was really made me think about how the pit the middle classes and the working classes against each other during this pandemic in order to distract them from the real what's really happening within the nation of the national government in its response to the pandemic, especially within the urban poor. So that really made me think on what kind of film I wanted to do, was the divide between the middle classes and the working classes, and probably reflect as well that the middle classes and the working classes have more in common with the ruling classes that are responsible for the incompetence in this pandemic. So I think that's what made me do the film, was the incompetence of the national government, but as well as the class divide that amplified during the pandemic. So I think that's what pushed me to make this film.
Yeah, I was looking at your filmography. More films made in 2020. Are they related to each other? Are they also like films that you made during lockdown?
So the films I made, for example, concerning violence. So concerning violence, terrorists, and I forgot the title of the other one. But those were all a response to the happenings in the Philippines. For example, concerning violence was more so a response to the repression of the Panday Sining artists in Metro Manila, where they were labeled persona non grata in the terrorist short film was a response to the anti-terror law that was passed. So all of my films in 2020, so all of my films in general, on the struggles of the Filipino people, as well as the fascist response of the government in towards resistance in the Philippines. So there's tackling resistance as well as the response to resistance by the national government.
Thank you for that, Jerry. I've mentioned a while ago that this is the first time that Pelicultura is screening a section of Asia Pacific short films. The viewers or the audience would, the filmmakers most especially, are quite curious also to know how landscape in your country or in the state where you are in from, especially for independent filmmakers or small production, like filmmaking. What are the filmmaking practices? How do you collaborate with each other? Things like that. Pandemic. So could you tell us something about the film making landscape, independent filmmaking landscape in your locality? Again, back to Victor.
Yep, no problem. I think I was lucky enough to meet a very talented group of people at film school, because something positive about going through film school is that everyone works for free. So you get cinematographer and even some actor for the cast. They just do it because you're a student, and then if you keep a good relationship with them, they are keen to help you for your next project, and you create this little network. And then they know someone else and the friend of a friend, and yeah, it's kind of I don't know, like a spider web. As I said, like the films I've done after Mr. Postman, which was my graduated film, or if I'm doing music videos and so on, I always work with the same crew that I used to work at. So they either work for free or for a very fair price, because we kind of constructed this good friendship as well. So in my case, it's a relationship with them, which has been very helpful so far. Sorry, I lost the audio.
Sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah.
So how is it like also with the other states in Australia? What is the scene there? What is the filmmaking scene there? Is it more lively in Melbourne, or is it less activity in other states?
Is like the state to be if you want to work in the film industry, but I don't really know how it works in other states other from my friends, because I have a couple of friends working in Sydney, for example, and they're doing pretty well as well. So I guess again, it go back to the theme about building a network. It all depends which kind of people you work. Yeah, because we used to work together with these guys, but then they moved to New South Wales, and I think those are the two examples I have. I don't know anyone else in other states, Wales and Victoria. But yeah, no, I think I'm glad I picked Victoria to work in films. It feels apparently creative and more welcome with artists.
When did you move to Australia? Because you were born
in 2014. Yeah, 2014. I was born in Chile. And that's also where here's where I met a very good Filipino friend who took me with him in 2017 to work in Capas, in our small thing.
In Tarlac.
Like 4 hours driving from Manila.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we made another short film there. He was the director, I was assisting. So again, like it's the same, grows and grows and grows, and even goes to the Philippines. Yeah.
I'm curious because how do you because now you're residing and working in Australia, how do you now identify yourself as a filmmaker? Do you think you could also make Chile, or that tackle subject matter that are specific to Chile, for example?
Yeah, well, the third short film I made, Postman, I made it during I was visiting my family in Chile in 2018 or 19. I don't really remember the date, but I put together a little group of friends, family, and we made a little short film whose screening now in Czech Republic in a couple of months. It was in a little festival in a city called Brno. It was made with no budget. I just had the script, called a few friends, told my brothers they had to act, and yeah, we just did it together. And you can, if I could make something like can be told in different cultures, maybe, but not specific from one region.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting because the topic of regionalism or regionalization has always been it's one of the most talked about topics. For example, in the where filmmakers who come from different regions outside Manila really carry this regional cinema as a kind of badge or identity that they kind of the history of cinema in the Philippines, which is historically it has been dominantly the dominant cinema example, and now that more chances or more opportunities from filmmakers from the region are increasing. I think consciousness of filmmakers, but it's also what you said is also interesting in the context of this increasing globalization. The filmmaker is his or her identity or the kind of stories that he or she wants to tell. Yeah. So maybe I'll also ask Masood, what is the filmmaking landscape in Iran? Of course, we know the big names, big name directors from Iran. And how is the small productions or independent filmmakers in Iran? What is the landscape of filmmaking there?
In this situation or in normal situation?
Even before the pandemic started, how was it like for independent filmmakers?
Well, there are so many independent locals in a different part of Iran making, especially in short films. I know Philippines also the number of productions, but and I don't know the exact numbers in Iran, but I think we produce like over 2,000 short films per year. And the interesting part is these short films are basically from different part of the country, which you wouldn't in feature. Usually, feature films are mostly produced in Tehran, in the capital, where all the production is based on. In short films, there are so many production house and filmmakers, talented, young, which produce films in different parts, different language, which I believe it's make it more beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that, Masood. It's good to know that I think similar like what you said to the Philippines, the bulk of film production really comes from, obviously because of its ease and the number also of filmmakers from different regions making their short films. Let's go to Jeril. Can you share to us how is are the Filipino filmmakers based in Melbourne or in Australia, or if not Filipino, maybe like Asian filmmakers? And is there such a kind of community Filipino filmmakers in Australia or in Melbourne specifically?
Yeah, so I wasn't really aware of the Melbourne filmmaking scene until Messiah in a collaborative film festival between the Monash Film Society and the University of Melbourne Film Collab. So I wasn't really aware of the Melbourne, but what I've always based my filmmaking upon is really in the community, in the Filipino community. So making it a kind of, even though I wrote the films, and it's really a very collective process of knowing what stories to tell and how to tell those stories. Also, in terms of other fear, one of my mentors is Arnel Magdocchio, or Direk Arnel from the Philippines, who really helped me with my filmmaking process, as well as developing my making skills. Also, we established a cultural organization called the Advanced League of People's Artists. So we have kind of gathering now the kind of in general in order to mobilize them and organize them into this artist organization in order to make films and also gather up the community. My filmmaking has always been grounded on the experiences of the Filipino community here in Australia, but not just here in Australia, but also the Filipino community there in the Philippines. My social practice as filmmaking is largely informed by my involvement and also my participation in the struggles of within this Melbourne, who helped me form the stories that I want to tell and how to tell those stories. So I really owe, because I don't really have much equipment. Most of my films, actually 5 of my 6 films, have been filmed with an iPhone. So I've always depended on the experiences of the Filipino.
Thank you, Jeriel. We'd also like to remind our viewers in the YouTube channel that questions. No, so we'll take questions from the audience as well. So we already talked about the kind of filmmaking landscape or filmmaking. Sure, because we're talking here of short films, and context of the Philippines, the filmmakers from the regions, the short filmmakers, independent filmmakers, also in a way rely with these small festivals, short films to be screened or to be distributed. So, what is the distribution landscape? How do your films get to, in your localities? So maybe we'll start again with Victor.
Yeah, I think you said it. For independent filmmakers, it's all about film festivals because you can't really contract a distribution company to promote your films or anything like that. So it basically you spend a few hours a day or during a certain amount of time going through list and list of film festivals, and you just apply for it. From big, medium, and small, everything. But yeah, I think it's film festivals basically. Yeah, or even now that it's pretty easy to get your films on Vimeo on demand, maybe a good option. Or if I don't know, I'm not a big fan of putting my films on YouTube, but that for some people seems to work as well. But yeah, I mean, if film to be seen, I don't think there is any excuse right now. I mean, there is nothing like watching your films on a big screen at the cinema, but still, this works and it feels so. Why not?
How about in Iran, Masood? Are there also a lot?
Yes, in Iran we have a couple of film festivals. Films. The biggest one is, I think, Tehran International Short Film Festival. Others, again, in different cities as well. Also, we have this cinema chain that the government support. It's called Art and Experience. Oh, yes, Art and Experience, something like that. which screen art house films, documentaries, feature shorts, which usually every time there are a package of short films. Which is it goes to theaters and certain cinemas. It's I think the number is small, but it's something. Maybe 20 cinema in screen art house films. Yeah, but the number of festival and the biggest our films are film festivals.
Yep. Thank you, Masood. Maybe for Jeril, is this the first time that your film was exhibited, or is exhibited in a what or are there other avenues for you to screen or exhibit your films?
Yeah. So my films have been in various festivals here in Melbourne, local film festivals. But I'm not really a fan of putting my works in the vault, So film festival I often release on my Facebook page or even in YouTube. So because I think always the goal of my films is to reach as many people as to those that I made the film for. So if I made a film about the urban poor, I would like the urban poor in the Philippines to also see this film. So I'm highly concerned about distribution, but also I think I also get a lot of exposure, not just to film festivals, but also to my engagement with grassroots organizing the Filipino community, but also within the broader community in Melbourne, because my films tackle a specific socio-political context. So there's always sense that wants to consume this type of content. So the grassroots organizations that we are in contact with, not just in the Filipino community, but also in other communities, are always available for me to expose my work. But the goal is always to reach as many people as possible and reach the people that I've made the film for. So if I made this film to contribute to this campaign, for example, against the repression of the urban poor, I want that to contribute to that campaign instead of to in some way. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good that you mentioned that, because we are also distribution. We are also not just talking about film festivals, these small regional film festivals, but it also depends on the kind of work that. If I may share, there are similar initiatives in the Philippines. For example, they have this Cine Maralita, for that. I don't know. Maybe of course, when the pandemic started, it has ceased to do its activities. But before, they have been areas, and they have been doing workshops, film workshops with the urban poor. So the stories are actually from the area, and the creators, the people living in those areas also gets to take part in the production process, and they are also the audience of the films. And there was also this initiative called Cine Resback, which specifically tackled or made films in response to the drug war. So yeah, so similar. Check if there are questions from the YouTube channel, but it looks like there are no questions. Yeah. Um, we've talked. Victor mentioned already a while ago this shift now to online, online. And now, considering that we are in this pandemic, most of us have shifted our consumption of films online. And while there are theaters that have been opening, there have been situations that is also closing because of the rise of the COVID and no. So, what do you think is will impact uh, small productions or independent filmmakers? How do you see this impact? This shift to online or to the virtual realm cinema. Anyone wants to start? Do you want to answer that?
I think it's beneficial actually. It might be beneficial for small makers, but independent filmmakers, because it might be a bit easier to get your films out there. Same with small film festivals, because if you pandemic, how much effort took to put together a film festival? You spend 1 year selecting the films, then another part of the year, and then you need catering and this and that and the red carpet. But right now you can have an online festival for what, half of the effort or even less. So I think the same logic can be applied how you manage your films right now, which might be a bit beneficial for us. It's still very competitive, like all the time, but opportunities, I guess.
Thank you, Victor. How about Masood? What do you think of this situation that we're in right now, when everyone is shifting to virtual, to online film festival? How do you think this will impact the future of independent filmmakers actions in Iran, for example? I think Masood is having connection problems. Well, he did mention a while ago going back to his hometown, and he might be cut off. So yeah, Jaril, what's your take on this issue?
I think there are some merits and obviously some pros and cons to this. And I think one of the cons is the way we consume media. You know, consuming film has always been a social setting, and it's always kind of desensitizing us in that social aspect when we view it online. I think it provides a lot of opportunity, especially for small filmmakers and small productions, in terms of they could probably counter the monopoly in the industry better in the online space than they can do in real life. Although the monopoly still exists even online, but I think the presence of the monopoly in the film less felt online. But and I think also the wide landscape that we could consume online is very beneficial, not just as filmmakers, but also to those that we want to reach. So I think it is beneficial in that way that we could reach whoever we want. It is a platform. So I guess, yeah, so I guess there's pros and cons to it, but that's my take on that.
Thank you, Jaril. So a message here that we're actually nearing the end of our talk. But before we get to your final message, maybe you want to share something that you're working on. If it's okay to share it right now, what have you been working on during the past months that you're still working on and you hope to probably share in the near future? Do you have something, Victor?
Well, I've been working at, but I've been mainly been focused on my thesis because I'm doing a PhD right now. So that's what's taking all the time pretty much. But yeah, I have a couple of short films on the way. which I hope I can film next year if everything goes back to normal. Because we still have restrictions regarding how many plays at the same time. Which, for example, I've been working on right now. I'm working on a couple of music videos with a local artist, and we are doing everything in animations. I have to adapt the script I have for those music videos, which were narrative, into animations. So yeah, that's what's keeping me busy right now, getting in contact with artists, get those work done.
And you, Jeriel, what's keeping you busy aside from films?
Oh, I think films have been keeping me pretty busy. Right now, I'm working with Derek Arnell in a short film that will tackle the red tag within the Australian community. As you know, there's already red tagging within this community. I was also, before the pandemic, I was also working on a film tag movement and its relationship with the Filipino struggle. But right now, I'm also writing a script about a coming of age story of a young Filipino woman, and the and as well as the impacts of during this pandemic.
So yeah, thank you for sharing, guys. I will not keep you anymore because it's past midnight in Australia. Thank you.
1 a.m. right now.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today with our talk. I don't know if Masud can still rejoin, but let's just while waiting for him, if he still can rejoin, to give your final message, invite the audience to, because we are going to screen the films in the next 24 hours before we take YouTube, Pelicultura's YouTube channel. So yeah, maybe any final words or message or invitation or whatever.
No, just thanks to the festival and for the chance to screen our films there and make them online and all that. That's very, very nice from you.
Thank you. Also, Jared, any parting words?
Just a message probably to filmmakers in general or Filipino filmmakers that are. I think my message was don't let limitations obviously put you down. As you can tell, I've made most of my films with an iPhone. So if you have anything to point to say, I think it's important that you say that through film. But also moving from the idea that film is just a social practice, but transforming that social practice into a vehicle. So not forgetting that we are part of the community that we want to portray, especially the people that we portray. I think it's very important that we join those people. And so my advice probably to fellow filmmakers, or especially Filipino filmmakers here in Australia, is really to get organized and organize yourselves into grassroots organizing the community, because that way we can enrich our filmmaking process and also come up with very beautiful ideas along that collective process of filmmaking. So yeah, I think that's my get organized and organize yourself.
Thank you, Jeriel, for that positive message and the call to action at the same time. A while ago, but we're actually down to the last part of the talk back, in which I invite you to give your final invitation or anything that you were working on that you'd like the audience to look forward to.
Thank you. As I told you, I'm on the road and it's the network is
It's
not
okay.
really stable. Yeah, I just hope that you watch my film, enjoy it, and then see something new, experience something new in my film. If if the questions, I will always hear the comments. And thank you so much for thank you so much for the festival that's you and the team that's provide uh, this talk. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Masood. Victor, thank you for joining us. You will still be able to catch their films along with the films of the filmmakers who unfortunately were not able to join. I'm just going to mention some of the films that are included in the lineup. Tenebrae by Nicole Woodford from Singapore, from Chan Taekwon from Malaysia, and Rest in Peace from Reza Fariansha from Indonesia. So along with these films are the films of Jeriel, They Killed the Mr. film, Mr. Postman, and Amir Masood Suhaili's film Elephant Bird. So the film will be screening in Pelicultura YouTube channel for catch it if you've missed the premiere a while ago. So, Pelicultura is presented by UPLB, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Department of Humanities, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, in partnership with Pasalidahay. It is co-presented by the National Commission for Culture and the Arts and the Film Development Council. So we would like to thank our sponsors, Manila Times, Takeoff Philippines, Inquirer Pop, Umalohokan Incorporated, UP Alliance of Developments or UP Ads, UPLB Society of Chemical Engineering Students, UPLB Chemical Kinetics Society, Society of Exchange to 24 Frames, the Rhetoricians, UPLB Babaylan, Association of Filipino Forestry Students, UPLB in Focus, Multimedia Guild, and the UPLB Com Art Society. So once again, thank you to our filmmakers and thank you to the audience. Thank you to those who have been on this channel and thank you to also to the Pelicultura staff in the background who was helping us with all the technicalities. So once again, and take care, stay safe where you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.